It is not a government of national unity. It is a coalition with white racists.
So load shedding is over?
No, I will tell you when load shedding is over.
Okay, we'll talk.
Yes, thank you.
I think more than anything, I think South Africa won, and I think our democracy won, and I think whether you are sitting whichever side of the political spectrum, I think we displayed some political maturity that South Africans have been yearning for.
Look, it's a privilege to be in Parliament in 2024 with circumstances as they are.
Our President, Commander-in-Chief Julius Malema, made an excellent short speech at the end after Ramokgopa had been elected with the help of the white racist Democratic Alliance. It is not a government of national unity. It is a coalition with white racists. That is sad, but within the legislature, within the National Assembly, we as the economic freedom fighters will clearly play our role to keep this government accountable, and we will do so with all the ability that we have and also the trust that has been invested in us by those voters in South Africa who voted for the economic freedom fighters.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a good one.
Yeah, so they're attacking you for the coal thing, but what do you think?
For the what?
Using more coal.
More coal?
Yes.
Coal
They're
is
saying that we need to go green.
No, coal is part of the energy mix.
Yeah?
Yes, coal will continue to be the backbone of energy generation.
So
that's
no
base loads.
So load shedding is over?
No, I will tell you when load shedding is over.
Okay, we'll talk.
Yes, thank you.
We're here with the Honorable Zungula, who is back in Parliament again, here to cause high impact. But I would like to ask you, what are your feelings about today?
Today, bold statements were made, particularly to expose that there is no GNU, rather there is a coalition of the DA, IFP and the ANC, because the ANC has been going out to people saying there's a GNU. But if you look at the voting patterns that happened for the two positions that were contested today, it is clear there is a coalition of the DA and the ANC. Again, if you look at how they voted in KZN, voted in Gauteng, it clearly shows that there is a coalition government that is in place, and that is not, there's nothing wrong with the coalition government. But ANC must not lie to the people and say there's a government of national unity, whereas it is in a coalition with the DA.
Why do you think this narrative keeps being pushed so aggressively that it's a GNU when there are clearly discrepancies in what it's being called and what it is in effect?
They want to mislead the South African citizens into believing that all parties in parliament are part of government, whereas it is we have an arrangement, or they have an arrangement between them as the ANC and the Democratic Alliance, parties with opposing ideological and policy positions. So what they are trying to avoid, the backlash whereby how can a party that is founded on certain principles work with a party that is founded on opposing principles? So that is why they are playing with people's minds.
So having been here for the last 5 years, do you have any new strategies that you are going to try to implement to try to get your message across more effectively in the time that you have with the microphone in the committees?
Look, what we've done in the past was obviously to be solution orientated. Now, like we've seen today, how ATM today made its mark to be felt, we are going to continue with that because we need to be more robust. We need to be more aggressive in terms of dealing with these issues, because that is what people want. They do not want members of parliament that will sleep, members of parliament that will just enjoy their time in parliament. And we are very happy as the ATM that we contributed into the work that has happened today, that has led us to start at 10, finish after 12 o'clock, because that is what people expect members of parliament to do, which is to work.
So how many Cokes or coffees did you have today? Because it's just a question of, it's been hard to keep up today, I must be honest.
No, I don't drink Coke, I don't drink energy drinks, I only drink tea, so I had only one tea today.
For real? No, then you have stamina.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
How are you feeling to be back in Parliament under this banner of Action SA?
Look, it's mixed emotions, Sometimes during the day I thought, what am I doing back here? But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a different parliament. It's not going to be more like a one-party dominance, and I think it's going to bring an interesting dynamic. But you know, we've told by the president, there are going to be multiple parties in this new government of national unity, grand coalition. Somebody has to hold them to account, and we're going to hold that critical opposition position. We don't want any positions in the government. We're going to be a critical, constructive opposition.
So you've been around this particular institution for a while. What are the things that young parliamentarians should be looking out for, and also what are the things that should be prioritized by citizens who are following this with new interest, who haven't been particularly paying attention to parliamentary procedure? What is critical at the beginning of an administration, especially one with these dynamics?
Okay, so I think what's interesting is there appears to be a whole number of young parliamentarians. I mean, there was one lady there, I think she's 20 years old.
Yeah.
So I think that will inspire young people. But also, I think when something appears to be overwhelming and there's a hegemony in government, people turn off because they think government's too powerful. Government's not powerful now. People have spoken, government doesn't have an outright majority, and I think that will stimulate the youth into being involved in politics and see what's happening. So I think it's going to be an interesting time.
Yeah.
But you know, I want to say to the youth, never say you're not interested in politics, because politics is interested in you. Everything that affects young people, education, access to education, healthcare, a job, policing, security, gender-based violence, all of that is politics. So you better be involved in politics and interested in politics.
Thank you so much, Mr. Prole.
My pleasure.
How many cups of coffee did you have to keep?
Man, I wanted to get a cup of coffee this evening and the shop was closed. So I've had no coffee since 9 o'clock this morning.
For real? So how did
For
you
real.
maintain your stamina all day?
Hey man, I don't know. I'm not used to sitting in Parliament all day. I used to for a long time sit in Parliament, and for the last 2 years I have not sat down for a whole day and a night.
I had 5, so if you had
Man, I wish you
zero-
could have brought me one. I wish you could have brought me one.
because you stayed up the whole time. This was such a long day.
I'm going to have something stronger than coffee right now.
I enjoy that. Thanks so much, Mr. Trana.
Thank you.
How was the day for you? We saw you make a big nomination there.
For us, it was democracy in action.
Yeah,
We had to make them work for it. We knew they had the numbers, obviously.
yeah.
But look, the parliament is only as vibrant as its leaders and its society. And if we are going to make it easy for them without going through the electoral processes, then we undermine the very same processes that we put in place. And I think to some extent what happened today is that we're able to have robust engagements, even with the Chief Justice when it was necessary to do so. Push back, but responsibly observe the elections like we do during your normal national and provincial and local government elections, which is we're putting every system in place that we have to test it, to check whether it actually works under pressure. And look, now we're done at 12 midnight, and the Progressive Caucus made them work very hard for it. And I think I want to reiterate that this is not a government of national unity.
Yeah.
It's a grand coalition between the DA, the IFP, and which other party in the ANC. Because remember, they keep on saying, we've signed a draft document, we've done this, but all the other partners that they're supposed to be consulting have not even seen the documents. Mm-hmm. But that's their problem, not ours. We wish them all the best with our coalition government.
Do you have energy for this administration?
I always have energy for South Africa. For me, it's serving the people of South Africa to the best of my ability and doing exactly what I promised when I took the oath of office this morning.
Thank you.
Much obliged to you.
I think more than anything, I think South Africa won, and I think our democracy won, and I think whether you are sitting whichever side of the political spectrum, I think we displayed some political maturity that South Africans have been yearning for.
So we're hearing that you've been promised 5 cabinet positions and you were there. Any winks about what is senior? Any winks?
It's way too soon. The negotiations are still ongoing.
You're still negotiating them?
Absolutely.
But how are you feeling?
Exhausted, but really, really good. And I'm excited about the 7th Parliament. I think we can really do something incredible and really restore the value of Parliament in the ordinary people's lives.
Well, that's what everyone is hoping for. Let's hope it happens.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
How are you feeling? First day in Parliament.
It's been a long day.
People say there's so energy in your eyes.
There is energy. We'll keep the energy going.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Musi, you're back in Parliament. How do you feel?
Look, it's a privilege to be in Parliament in 2024 with circumstances as they are. No one party that's dominant, a new interaction. There must be energy in the room. It's going to be an interesting 5 years.
So now there's no more broken men with the broken this and the broken that. Are we going to see more bangers from you in the coming days and months?
I'm a fighter, man. I love this country. And whilst I'm looking at this grand coalition of the opposition, how we fight for education of our kids, how do we make sure that jobs are created in every home, and how do we make sure that we keep society working? That's the fight, man. So our country, just because you've got a so-called GNU, does not mean our country is fixed. Our country is still in pain. Our country is still wounded. We need to fight to fix it. So yes, we still have a broken country, but now we got to find the leadership that will take us forward.
Well, congratulations, guys. I think a lot of South Africans are happy to see you back in Parliament, to see new fresh faces, and happy and hopeful to see what you can do with this opportunity. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. Good evening, Mr. Hendricks.
Oh, good evening.
Can you share with us how it feels to be back in the 7th administration?
Look, it was a thriller minute over the last 5 years, and I think it will be another thriller minute for the next 5 years, and I'm happy to be back. There's some unfinished work that we have to do. As you know, that if you are a member of Parliament, your job is to put on the table bills and to amend other bills. We did 5, and we have been very successful in achieving some of the objectives. And we have got some exciting plans for new bills in the 7th Parliament.
That's wonderful. And what do you think about the coalition season that we are all in right now?
Look, there is a coalition between the African National Congress and the Democratic Alliance. I saw the agreement signed by Helen Zille and signed by the SG of the ANC, and I didn't have time to really study it very closely, but it says if any new parties want to join, it has to be with the consent of the Democratic Alliance. So that is what we have at the moment, a two-party government of national unity, which is a two-party state. And you know, the African peer review mechanism, when they last did an assessment and test out their democracy, they said that the two-state is the greatest threat to our democracy. So what the ANC has been doing is they're non-compliant with the recommendation of the African peer review mechanism. So what they're talking about, a government of national unity, is a big farce, and that has spoiled everything for me today.
Well, there you have it. Thank you so much, Mr. Hendricks. Have a good administration.
I'd also like to thank 2 companies that are part of this SMWX community who have really helped us on this Cape Town trip to bring you all the content we're going to bring you. The first company is Black Brick. They have accommodated the SMWX team and also given you this wonderful venue from which we're going to shoot some content when we're not at Parliament. So I'd really like to thank the people at Black Brick in Cape Town, but they're also in multiple places in South Africa. If you're ever looking for excellent accommodation, make sure you check out Black Brick. And I'd also like to thank the people at Lula who are helping to transport the SMWX crew as we bring you this coverage. Lula's a company that takes particularly crews and companies and workers, whether you're going to a festival or you have an off-site event where you're transporting lots of people. Lula gets you from A to B in a really seamless way. And I want to give a big shout out to Lula. Thank you for watching this channel. Thank you for continuing to build and grow this channel into an important, independent digital force in South African politics. And I think after this government is formed, we might just be that crucial counterweight, that crucial critical voice that our country very much needs. See you in the comments. Aye.